phone.
I guess they're not streaming today. That sucks.
Yeah.
What a pair of assholes. Oh boy. We'll see. Well, no comments.
Yeah, it's
Like, damn, I guess no one turned up. See ya.
when we're 10 minutes late and everyone bailed.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel bad.
That's what we get. That's what we get for, trying to bring quality to our subs.
Oh yeah, that's the reason.
That's
trying to
the
bring
reason.
quality. It's not because we hadn't had a shit
No,
prepared at all.
absolutely not. People should understand. They should know what we're doing.
Well, so
hi.
first person to get. That's twice in a row.
Nice. How's it going?
Hey, Celeste.
I thought for a second she was like just gonna address me. Just hi, Steph. Sam.
Fuck that guy.
Hi, sweet shorty one. Hey Ben, what's up?
Don't say hi to everyone.
Oh, but I like to.
I know, but you very quickly run out of the ability to do that.
But I do what I can. There's just too many sweet people. That was too nice.
Hey guys.
Yeah, I know, babyface me.
Yeah, but like babyface with the
with
5 o'clock
stubble.
shadow.
This is a fucking
You know what I mean?
rough baby.
You got the George Michael look.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm guessing that's where the earring came from.
Yeah, probably.
He's the first person I remember wearing the little dangly.
Yeah, I think his was a cross though.
It was totally a cross.
I deliberately
100% a cross.
avoided the cross.
I can imagine why.
Yeah.
It's a good plan.
Oh, Kelly was doing her finals. And now
Yeah.
she's done. All right, awesome.
That's good.
All right. So, so today, guys, we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic that I like to call edgelord icons.
I'd really like to think every topic is interesting.
Yeah. You'd hope.
Next week. So this week we're coming in with a very boring topic.
Yeah.
Don't stick around. It'll suck.
It's going to be shit. Don't worry about it. You can just give this one a skip. Just give it a miss, guys. It's fine. Yeah, so today I wanted to just talk about... Actually, you know what? We're just going to go back to the default scene. We'll start the timer when we actually start talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So today we're just going to be talking about like edgelord movies and media. So think things like Breaking Bad, Matrix, Fight Club, Joker...
Fucking Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty, stuff like that. Yeah. And essentially, the kind of irony, the paradoxical nature of idolizing these characters that are deliberately, most of the time anyway, supposed to be portrayed as not someone to look up to.
Yeah. Definitely the tragic figure who's seen as a hero. I was going to say tragic Firo.
That's a Pokemon.
That's a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic. Pretty tragic, though.
Plight of the Firo.
It got one evolution, and it's really just a fucking cheap replacement for a Pidgeotto.
Is it not called a Spearow?
Spearow first, and then it evolves into Firo.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
It's like the crack addict of the bird Pokemon world. That's very much its whole vibe.
So for this week's episode, we're talking about crack addict Pokemon.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna start the segment. I think we're just gonna like last time. We're gonna try and like divvy these up into little segments so we don't go like massively over time. And then we're gonna have a little segment where you guys can ask questions and we get your opinion on it. All right, so
hang on, are edgelords anti-heroes? Kind of.
I mean,
I wouldn't say exclusively, but quite often.
Like, yeah, sort of, because I mean, like, yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean...
Again, not always.
Not always, but they tend to end up becoming edgelord icons. Even Deadpool, unfortunately.
Oh, Deadpool's definitely an edgelord icon.
It's absolutely an edgelord icon. But one of the, part of the ironic things that we were even talking about before is just how it's consistently characters that can have some kind of a queer reading to them a lot of the time. So often. Deadpool is canonically pansexual, and that is just so often completely ignored by the dudes who idolize him.
Yeah.
Same with The Matrix being a metaphor for the trans experience. Same with Fight Club being an allegory for gay experience.
Oh my god, Chucky falls into this category too.
Oh yeah, really?
Absolutely he does.
Cool. Huh.
Yeah, well think about it. It's a character created out of the anger towards, I don't know, maybe... I'm not going to specify Don's specific anger, but it's definitely a character created out of anger, right?
Yeah.
Because all horror movie characters generally are some kind of allegory for that.
Yeah.
But if it's not an allegory for his experience as a gay man and the anger he feels growing up in the 80s and 90s through that society, then You know?
Yeah, okay.
And he's only really getting to fully express that now. I mean, more so over the last, I don't know, 20 years or so?
Yeah. The freedom to do so.
The more so. Yeah. Well, he's having more and more freedom to do so, but that's more I think, widely expressed in the current TV show.
Yeah.
More than anywhere else.
I need to watch that still.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, but even the characters like, okay, yeah, Joker is like the big one. The biggin, you know.
Joker and Neo, I would say, are probably the two biggest.
Yeah. I mean, Walter White has definitely kind of stepped in.
For a long time, Scarface. What was that?
Scarface, yeah, absolutely. And then
Tyler Durden.
Yeah, Tyler Durden. Scarface has less of a queer reading though.
Absolutely.
And
well, that's more about that's more racial than
definitely
sexual.
More racial. Definitely. But yeah, let's say like Scarface, and then like say Wolf of Wall Street, and then Breaking Bad. They kind of fall into the same like lure of like very heavily like heterosexual.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
very heterosexual fantasy.
I would say a lot of these characters, they're not necessarily. I mean, they would say they're not necessarily like gender or queer coded, but it's just alternative coded, minority coded.
But it's just like just the most vague, ambiguous definition of alt that you can get.
Sometimes,
typically, a lot of the times I've noticed that it's like, oh yeah, they're outsiders, and it's like, why? Well, he's just different.
Why?
How? How? Why? How is this guy different? Like, oh, but just society doesn't get him, and it's like, okay, what is it really? Because when you look at things like, say, Mr. Robot, mentally ill. You look at things like, Neo, a metaphor, but still, like trans. If you look at the Joker, like gay or some kind of queer. There's always like a more solid reason underneath it, but that's just glossed over because like no, this is for the straight edgy dudes though, and just
your argument is confusing. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I was just like, you seem to be arguing a point I didn't make.
Oh, sorry.
I'm talking about how like all of these anti-hero edgelords are in some way alternative coded.
Oh yeah, sure, but
not how they're recognized.
Oh yeah,
not who they're recognized by.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not talking about that's just how that alternative coding is always very, very.
It's glossed over.
It's glossed over.
Well, and not glossed over in the media that it's in. We're talking
by people.
Yeah. Glossed over in the way that it's seen by the audience.
Pretty much, yeah. They just blatantly ignore the fact that the Joker repeatedly says that he loves Batman. And they're like, no, man, he's just obsessed with him. It's like, yes, you're not wrong, but I'm pretty sure that he's in love with him too.
There's no man I'm obsessed with that to that degree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I mean, this is it's pretty explicit.
Yeah.
Freaking, what's another one? Rick and Morty as well.
Rick and Morty, I think, is one of the more current populars, but at the same time, because of the large gaps between each season, I think the popularity of Rick and Morty hasn't quite taken hold as well as it could have, which is kind of a good thing, because a lot of the fans attached to Rick and Morty are not great.
The fact that Dan Harmon knows this,
I appreciate that he recognizes.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy that he caught onto that and gives them shit constantly.
And I feel like he's actively trying to get away from that, but doesn't really quite know how.
Yeah, because unfortunately. Yeah, that experience is something that people just latch onto. And even Rick, it's like, okay, he's clearly depressed.
Oh, yeah.
He's clearly, like, very, very mentally ill.
The guy's a complete mess.
But again, this is just grabbed onto by dudes who maybe even have mental illnesses themselves, but, like, use that as an excuse for their bigotry. It's like, no, man, like, I've just been downtrodden by society. And when I say society, I really just mean minorities.
Yeah, I've definitely met enough straight white dudes who have that sort of ideal of, like, it's not really like the blacks, gays, women's, or any other minority here that's being oppressed. It's me, the straight white man, because I'm poor. That's just
and even when they say
unfortunate circumstances.
And even when they say poor, it's like, it's not that poor.
Oh, the ones I'm referring to or thinking of, no, they're poor.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. They do actually have that right to be angry. It's just misplaced.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay, that's fair. I would categorize that more as like typically like guys that have been misled.
Yeah, in
like,
some cases,
you know, where there's like they have gone through hardships, but then their peer group has convinced them, yeah, no, it's these people's fault.
Yeah, yeah.
They're getting a free ride on your dollar.
Absolutely.
And they're like, fuck, that sucks.
Yeah.
And I can't even call these people out because then I'm a bigot. Man, that's so unfair.
Yeah, and they feel like, you know, something their rights are being taken away. And it's just like, well, not really. We're just giving rights to other people who didn't previously have them, but that doesn't remove the rights you already have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's I think that the allegory that someone used was it's like sitting on the bus and you've got your feet up on the chair opposite you.
Yeah.
And you getting pissed off
When someone says move your feet.
Someone say, hey, move your feet. I'd like to sit down like, oh, I can't believe you're taking away my rights.
Yeah.
You never had the right to put your feet there, dude.
That is actually a really good one.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I've definitely come across those people on the fucking train.
And it's like, yeah, I'm 100% sure that you were very comfortable and, you know, it is an inconvenience for you to put your feet down, but someone else just wants exactly what you have. Not more. Just the same thing you are currently enjoying.
Yeah.
You know, and you are just being brought down to the same level as them, and then you're getting mad about it.
Yeah.
You know, like, no, dude, no.
Yeah.
Oh, also the BoJack Horseman T-shirt was a very deliberate choice for this video because that's another example.
He
of
sort of falls into that category, but doesn't. You were telling me last night.
He's very, very much mentally ill.
Like, he could fall into that category, but he's so tragic, but it's hard to really idolize him.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like one of the things I really like about the show. They make it so difficult to
like
see him as a role model because the shit he does is so sketchy. Like, you cannot be like, oh yeah, BoJack Horseman, I just relate to that guy so much without somebody raising an eyebrow and being like, which part? They mean the part where he nearly committed statutory rape, or the part where he seduced the child actor who was on the same TV show with him in the 90s, who he borderline groomed? Like, which part? Because this is very concerning, you know?
Sure, yeah.
You can't spin that in a cool way.
Yeah.
It's very explicitly like, no, this is sad and fucked up. But again, it's another one where people just use that like, oh yeah, I've had this experience and I felt this way, therefore my rage towards these minority groups is justified. Like, I am the Joker, you know? You know, I don't need to be black to be oppressed. I don't need to be queer to be oppressed.
Yeah.
I just am. And then unfortunately a lot of the times it's like, you were probably like a repressed some kind of queer or another, and you're not dealing with those feelings properly.
I wouldn't say that. In fact, I don't want to bring that even into the argument, because the reality of the situation is there's going to be a large majority of these guys who are not
That's a very
in any
fair
way
point.
queer oppressed, and then they're just going to dismiss this argument.
Yeah, no, yeah. It might happen every now and then, but that is ultimately a smokescreen argument.
Yeah, and like I'm not in any of these minorities except for mixed race, and even that's like a weird in between where I cop racism and I also cop privilege at the same time.
Yeah,
it's very. I don't know how to put it.
Well, as
weird
being like having like an ethnic background but being white,
you can kind of relate.
What I cop essentially is when people say like, oh, like Steph, like, would you consider yourself white or would you consider yourself ethnic? And I'm like, well, it depends who you ask.
Yeah.
If you ask people who are part of, say, in Australia anyway, like Islander or Aboriginal communities, I'm 100% white.
For sure.
I'm white European. But if you ask British, like even Irish descent Australians, they say, no, you're a wog. You're not white.
Yeah.
You're not like us. You're different.
Yeah.
You know, so it kind of falls somewhere in between some as well.
Well, I think, and because of that, because we've both had that kind of in-between experience, we've both been in the position to sort of be edgelords, and I wouldn't say fully, but like at least know those those kind of people and get somewhat immersed in the culture at different times.
Yeah,
and there are definitely times where I've fallen more along the lines of edgelord thinking, and like I'm glad I'm at a point now I can look back and be like, oh, dude,
yeah,
that was some misplaced anger.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know,
and same here.
Like I'm glad I really didn't take that to any kind of extreme.
Yeah, I was very much on the edgelord path.
Yeah.
I think it was someone. Oh, also, yeah. Like I was just gonna say, like what Feek the Signifier said in his video. There is a video done by a YouTuber FD Signifier that talks about the edgelord movies and the edgelord trope. It's really good. We'll put it in the description for the video. You guys should go give it a watch. It's really great. But yeah, he talks about how typically men will kind of maybe like split off around like middle school or so.
Yeah, super accurate.
Like, okay, like that is kind of the turning point where you either realize that the bullshit that patriarchal society has sold you is bullshit, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, it's not women's fault that I'm unhappy.
I will say that there are,
or you double down.
I wouldn't call it specifically middle teenager because it depends on.
It depends. I definitely went much later.
Yeah, upbringing and I would say lifestyle habits actually play a big part in this because I'm realizing a lot of my development happened later in life than it maybe should have. I would say partly due to testosterone levels being chronically low my entire life. But then also just because of like where I was raised. I was raised in a relatively small, rich white community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, your peer group has a massive
absolutely.
influence. I went to a private school, which is like predominantly white boys.
Yeah.
I mean, predominantly.
Entirely
boys.
Yeah.
Predominantly white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like all boys school.
But yeah, for me, I mean, this didn't really happen until like my mid-20s where I started to... And I wouldn't say I was an edgelord in my earlier 20s. I was just bordered on being an edgelord.
I would have defined myself as an edgelord very much.
Very much so.
Yeah, not to a point of like... It was kind of like still would probably count as a cusper, in some ways. But I was very much had the like, I'm not racist. I just and then nothing good came after that.
I definitely would have been in that category of I'm not misogynist, but
yeah. But I just think I think someone said just caught in the comments. Someone said edgelord is basically intelligent troll.
I suppose that's one way of putting it.
There is like, I'd say though it's like intelligent to a degree, because intelligent enough to understand complex concepts, but not intelligent enough to actually have like a level of self-awareness to actually reflect those concepts back onto yourself and self-analyze.
I would say that there's like the intellectual, logical intelligence, but then there's the lacking emotional intelligence.
Yes.
And that this is a thing that I think is quite often heavily overlooked, where it's just like they are kind of separate things. And you do get characters who are somewhat one or the other. In fact, I've been watching great underrated cult show, Party Down, which you may never have heard of, but it features a lot of like SNL alum and Veronica Mars actors and crew.
Okay.
Done by Rob Thomas, and I think Paul Rudd was a executive producer on this, creator on this. It was only 2 seasons. But Ryan Hansen's character plays like almost a really great ideal of the opposite of that, where he's really emotionally intelligent. He understands people pretty well, but nothing else.
Yeah, okay.
He's a full-on himbo.
Oh.
But like he gets communication.
I think that's why the himbo trope has become so popular lately.
Because they understand communication but nothing else.
Yeah, it's pretty much the inverse of edgelord.
It's like the exact opposite.
You're pretty much a human Labrador.
You're just like super happy and like fun and positive, but you're not really that smart.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what, this is great. We're not gonna have like a really depressing conversation about global warming. We're just gonna we're just gonna chill. This is gonna be really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, fucking just one of the other points I wanted to bring up was just how hilarious it is that so much of just the edgelord trope and the heroes and the icons of it, like fucking Joker, like that, it's always aligned with like you said before, alternative. But you can't claim to be alternative if then you subscribe to very traditional viewpoints like the gays are bad.
Yeah, well, it's funny how like a certain amount of punk culture ends up being kind of old white conservative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially the ones who make money along the way.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, it's so bizarre that someone wants to say, yeah, man, I'm an anarchist.
Yeah.
I V for Vendetta changed my fucking life. I want to bring down the system.
Yeah.
I want to go against the grain by beating up minorities, by beating up the people who are consistently oppressed.
Straight up murdering them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Speaking of, you know what's a current thing that will fit into this pretty well?
Yeah.
South Park. South Park has become the like rich white conservative edgelord. of like animated TV.
I've not seen any.
Oh, dude, post-COVID?
Yeah.
The post-COVID movie that's like an hour long, the new one that just came out?
Righto.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there's still some stuff that's really fucking hilarious. But
Okay.
the amount of times I was like, oh, Trey. Oh no, don't.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh no.
Not that argument, my guy.
I mean, I could see how maybe like some of the arguments could be like still an attempt at satire, because pretty much
some of it is.
A lot of the times, yeah, it's like South Park.
Some of it is.
Yeah, a lot of times South Park in the past has been
fucking fantastic at satire,
but also misinterpreted. It's like you guys
are
like justifying this, and you guys are like downplaying it. It's like no, they're pointing it out. They're pointing out how terrible it is through satire and through ridiculousness.
And that's why I've always enjoyed South Park, even though they have had some rough moments.
But I have 100%.
Cut a lot.
Ooh boy, yeah. But 100%, I've noticed that they are starting to drift into like, I'm not sure that was a joke.
Yeah, well, it falls into. Remember, we were watching someone using the idea of conservative comedy, where it's like, if it's comedy with an agenda, is it really still comedy?
Yeah, exactly.
And you can clearly see the agenda behind South Park now, and it's just kind of rough. Like, me and Maria were watching this like, oh, that's funny. Oh, no, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, but after like multiple decades of being just like really fucking rich.
Yeah, really successful.
And not really being
heavily celebrated.
Just, I think what made South Park so relatable was that, Matt Stone and Trey Parker were just two
regular guys.
Dudes.
And the problem is they're not. Well, and again, I kind of take Matt Stone out of this because he hasn't been as heavily involved in South Park for quite a while.
Yeah, it's really more Trey Parker's baby child
at this point. Yeah. I know Matt Stone does still do stuff. I just don't know how much.
Yeah. But either way, like they're both loaded.
Oh, for sure.
They're both loaded.
Yeah,
and you just cannot. You cannot stay relatable when you are just that removed from normal society.
Yeah, it's not just the money; it's also just the removal from society.
You can't. I'm sorry, Oliver Queen. I'm sorry, Green Arrow. But you cannot fight the man if you are the man.
Well, which is exactly why in very many comic book iterations, Green Arrow has had his money stripped away from him.
Yeah, that makes
a lot of sense.
Does make a lot of sense. Hell, this is actually a big reason why fucking Batman's so popular. He's 100%.
Batman's like
when you look at him as like, okay, this is like at least a bisexual repressed man who is literally fighting the evil incarnation of his queer desires embodied by the Joker.
Sure.
And he's so rich and so straight and so white, and that's what makes him awesome. And it's like, but if you look at it, he's clearly pretty repressed. He's clearly mentally ill.
Oh, he's definitely got some serious issues.
He has all these traits that should be obvious, but are still completely missed. And we're about to. Oh, you had a coffee? It's okay, buddy. We'll get you some more. They're completely missed, and we'll get to it later because we're about to run out of time. But I want to get into later about how shit like that is just. Oh, damn it! I forgot the point.
Well, that's a good thing because we've run out of time.
Yeah, we ran out of time. See, my brain.
You'll remember the point later.
Yeah, later on.
Let's have a look at what you guys have said about this.
Said quite a lot.
Quite a few things. Okay. Is just everyone saying hi to each other? That's very nice.
I think it's very sweet that you guys listen so well.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'll put the question segment now. Bosh.
Okay, so this is the one you were talking about before with Sleep is Awesome, having associated edgelords as smart trolls, people that say controversial things more for their reaction than believing in what they're saying. I don't think it's a correct view. I mean, I wouldn't say that that's really the extent of it, because it wouldn't travel as far as it has.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as widespread. It wouldn't be as strong if a decent amount of these people didn't actually believe what they were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that some of them do, but it's just... You put that out there, guess who's going to flock to it? You can say, oh, that's right. That was the thing I want to bring up later. The pointlessness of subtlety with these concepts and with these characters.
Yeah, well, because they're relying on emotional intelligence that the audience doesn't have.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like you make a rape joke. You can say it's a joke all you want, but the guys who are going to laugh at it are the ones who have very sketchy definitions of consent.
Yeah.
And that's why it's funny to them.
Well, these are the guys who think of rape as the violent in a back alley with a stranger kind of guy. And it's like, that's one version.
Yeah, but that's not the dude who's laughing at it.
And that's not the most common version.
Exactly.
Someone who enjoys being deliberately provocative to get reactions. So
Yeah.
Again, a lot of these people really do fucking believe what they're saying.
Yeah, you end up with what was the name of that famous comedian? He pretty much had exactly this style of humor, and then he got done for sexual harassment because he fucking
Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. That's the one. That was pretty much the turning point from the 2010s to the 2020s where we were like, oh, dudes who joke about this stuff are actually just those things that they claim to be joking about.
Yeah.
That whole no, man, I'm not racist. It's just satire. It's like, you're actually a racist.
Yeah.
You're just using the guise of comedy to hide that. Yeah. And again, Louis C.K. joked about.
It could have been more coffee.
Oh, they couldn't have. Yeah, Louis C.K. used jokes about sexual harassment all the time
to cover up his sexual harassment.
The fact that he was a fucking creep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, he broke up with a friend. The friend breakup is an interesting term, but I know what you're saying.
No,
Got into an argument over Rittenhouse, and his whole point was that self-defense was right. That's a fucking tough one. Okay, so do you know about this?
I do not.
Yeah. Okay, so Steph doesn't know a lot about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial situation, whatever you want to. So we'll talk about that one later.
Yeah,
but for right now, there's too much information to cover.
And you gotta fucking inform me about all of it.
Yeah.
So it's shock value. Look, I'm sure that some of it is for shock value, but most of the time there is an ulterior motive behind it.
Yeah, and again, I've known way too many edgelord type guys who know that they believe it.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's like they say they joke, but you get a couple beers into them and you get them pissed off enough, the real shit comes out.
Yeah. You spend enough time with these guys, you'll know there's no joke.
Oh yeah.
Bojack is a good example of the kind of flawed main character that people idolize unless their actions are framed in a way that makes it clear that they need help.
Yeah,
and he definitely needs help, apparently. I haven't seen it, so...
it does a very good job of, again, going to come back to it, but there is no subtext with Bojack, which is why it works so well.
Yeah, I think you do have to be a lot more clear and direct with this kind of thing.
It's not covered up. It's just he is very mentally ill. He is very morally fucking ambiguous, if not just flat out bad. The only moral ambiguity is a very relevant point of, okay, can he really be a bad person if so many of the bad things he does stems from his mental illnesses?
It's an interesting question.
Sure. That is the kind of moral ambiguity I actually want to see. That's relevant.
So people inspired by V for Vendetta that go to the wayside, as you mentioned, probably accidentally started watching Jordan Peterson. Now, I haven't actually seen enough Jordan Peterson. I know he's out there. I know he's a guy who, I guess, talks about men's rights and shit, but I'm not super familiar.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how it happens. Because, again, it's just, I'm the victim. Totally. But TV show. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I personally think that the best comedians are the ones who just don't need to stoop to those kinds of jokes, like Hassan Minhaj or Hannah Gadsby. Again, I know those two names. I haven't seen as much of their comedy, but I would say that realistically, comedy, you can rely so much on making fun of other people, and it doesn't need to. And this, I think, is the argument that a lot of conservatives are making right now, and South Park was making, unfortunately, where it's you can't be woke and funny because, being progressive means that you're always nice to everybody, and it's that's not
really.
Am I really that nice to everyone?
It just depends. Just look at the direction you're punching in. Is it up or down?
But even then, you don't have to punch in a direction. It's one of the things I love about Brooklyn Nine-Nine so much.
Yeah.
How much of their comedy relies on making fun of a specific person.
Yeah.
Specific individual. Usually they're just making fun of a particular behavior that's ridiculous.
It's a character trait.
Yeah, I mean, it's absurdist humor, and I think that a lot of humor that is seen by conservatives is it's funny when it's absurdist, but it's also offensive, and it's but the offensive parts aren't actually funny to pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
Or not. Obviously, some people are gonna.
It's funny to you because you hate those people.
Well, yeah,
but it's coming from a place of anger.
Yeah.
Not absurdity.
Yeah.
Your goal here is to cause hurt. And then throw up your hands and say, whoa, bro, it was just a joke.
Well, yeah. I was talking about more the people listening to the joke, not making the joke.
Fair enough.
But yeah, there is those people who try and use the idea that it's a joke to be why are you so offended? But that doesn't mean anything.
Also,
You know
just
what I mean?
making jokes from the perspective of the, like one of my favorite gay jokes from Brooklyn Nine-Nine was when Holt recounted how he and Kevin got married and how they pretty much like tried to speed run it because they were like, this could get revoked at any minute. Could you just hurry up and get to the vows?
Yeah.
We don't need the vows. We just got to kiss and get this done with.
Oh god.
And it's like, yeah, okay, that's a joke that can be made, and it's not necessarily like super woke. It is a gay joke, but it's not a gay joke that victimizes gay people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that definitely comes down to the argument against Dave Chappelle in recent times, right? It's like, are you making jokes that involve trans people, or are you just making jokes at trans people?
Pretty much, yeah. I'd say that's a very clear difference.
I think in terms of writing good comedy, self-awareness is key, absolutely.
Exactly.
If you know what you're making fun of and reflect jokes to people before you perform them, you're more likely to be not offensive. Yeah, but it's also, I think, making fun of... If you're going to make fun of a community at large, make fun of your own community. Make fun of people you understand. And I think this is where the self-awareness comes in. And like, I'm not really a fan of self-deprecating humor because it just sort of perpetuates...
depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's I mean, it can be good as a coping mechanism, and if that's what you need, if that works for you, then it works. No, like because
short term, I think it's fine, but the more you do it, the more you just sink into this pattern of like beating on yourself.
100%. It's like it's you need to keep an eye on the people who are doing it and making sure that it's not indulgent.
Yeah,
and it's just like anything else. If you do it too much, it's not going to be good for you. The same with like that's the same way that like toxic positivity works. If you keep telling somebody, "Hey, happiness is a choice," you're just gonna end up making them feel like shit. That's not gonna be empowering.
Yeah.
You say it every now and then, like, "Hey, man, you have control. You can make decisions in your life that will lead you to happiness." But if you keep saying it repeatedly, you start drilling in the message like, "Oh, I'm not choosing to be happy, therefore I'm a piece of shit."
Well, this is why you need to have relatively complex arguments and discussions about these kinds of things. It's like the whole just be yourself piece of advice. Is it technically good advice? Yes. Is it like well explained enough for the majority of people? Fuck no.
And it's definitely not well explained enough for the people who need to hear it. Because I sure as hell needed to hear it when I was younger, and I was told it, but I did not understand what it meant.
Yep. White Chicks, a movie that definitely has jokes that don't age well. Still has plenty of funny material, though, that still lands because they aren't malicious and are inclusive. That's fair. It's been a long time since I've seen White Chicks. Like, I saw it probably when I was like a teenager.
Yeah.
So I really have no idea in that sense.
Yeah.
When they say, "Oh, it's just a joke," you know, it's not a real joke. Yeah, more often than not. I know what you're saying in the sense they're just trying to say something that they think is true, but like they know is offensive. Yeah. So they're like, "No, it's a joke. You don't take me so seriously."
Yeah, the George Carlin style of comedy, but essentially weaponized.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it like it is, bro.
It's tough because I think if you do it really well, as George Carlin was known to do, you can sort of you could do it.
Yeah,
but it's a very, very complex way of approaching comedy.
Yeah, it's
very easy to get wrong.
It's smarter. It's comedy that's a lot smarter than what most people are equipped to deal with. And it's just like, bro, this isn't funny. This is just a racist rant.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I think a lot of them are just replying to each other.
Why are you guys just talking to each other? That's cool.
Aw. Thank you, Sylvan. Just quick side thing.
From the Klaus review.
Klaus review, damn.
God damn, that was a long time ago.
Comedy is the equivalent of advanced calculus. I mean, kind of, but with more intuition.
Yeah, the intuition thing is the difference for sure.
All right, so let's get back to the EDGELORDs.
So I definitely wanted to talk about how this relates to, I guess, sexism and the misogyny, and the way a lot of these dudes who sort of they see themselves as the victim, so therefore you can't be, and it's literally just so much of it's like a lack of communication and how young boys aren't taught to communicate with each other. Yeah. I should say, aren't taught to deal with our emotions. And therefore we end up getting in these thought processes in our own minds that aren't they don't have as much effect from other people as they need to. Yeah. And it's like this internal echo chamber, and that's where you get these ideas of like women have it so much better than me, and you know, like the black minority has it way better than me, or any other minority community. I just say the black community because it's the most well documented, I would say, at this
Yeah.
point example, largely because of the size of America and the
Yeah.
amount of divide there.
I will say we're not experts on this. We're
No.
not like super well informed because one, we live in another country, and two, we're not black. But yeah,
it's
just generally.
You will get.
Generally.
You will. I guess you have to, from my perspective, but you just have to draw the parallels between racism as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely do experience racism.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can only work with what you got. But I would 100% agree that it just becomes a thing of like, you are told, oh, you're supposed to have all these things. You're supposed to have the world in the palm of your hand, which is where things like Fight Club come in, and it's like, okay, that is true that the world did tell you were going to be rock stars and sex gods, and then you weren't. But then it goes in completely the wrong direction, and this was supposed to be the point, that it was supposed to show how toxic masculinity and heteronormative culture brainwashes dudes into thinking that the world owes them everything, and then when they don't get that, they become violent, and they start blaming the other demographics around them, because they think, well, if I'm the victim, then you must be the oppressor.
Yeah.
You must be the reason. Because every time I try to say something about, well, I think actually just like women are like, women need to like stop, reporting fake rape. I think like that's the real problem here, guys. Why don't we talk about that more? And you get smacked down because they're like, no, that's really fucking wrong. That's incorrect.
Yeah.
And rather than looking at any kind of data that backs that up,
pick up one story.
They just pick up the one story, and then they're like, man, when I tried to bring it up, I was silenced. Yeah. This is like the fucking Gestapo, guys.
Oh, God.
And it's like, because that narrative allows their train of thought to continue. Because what are you left with otherwise? Hey, actually, the reason you're feeling so upset and pissed off all the time, kind of your own fault.
Well, here's a bit of empathy for that, because I wouldn't say that it's entirely their own fault. I will say...
I did say kind of.
I know. I will say that the way our society is built, exactly what you were saying before, where young men, especially young straight white men, have been sort of sold on this idea of, like, you can have the world, but they were never taught how to communicate, so therefore they were never taught how to actually learn and progress and achieve these things.
Yeah.
And that sort of leads into this idea that we get in some rom-coms, which is like a really light idea that it feeds in from almost the background, where you get the nice guy who in the movie actually probably is a fairly nice guy, but in reality is not so much. Who doesn't need to change to win the girl. He's like, no. We just need her to see who I really am.
Yeah, the world just needs to see who I really am.
We need to shift the world's perspective because I'm actually good enough right now. And I was like, no, dude, you need to just work. You've got a lot of progress you've got a lot of progress to make in your personal life before you can start expecting any kind of return.
Yeah, and that's actually a massive red flag.
I'm not expecting, but you know.
Yeah. But that's a huge red flag with a lot of these characters, is the untapped potential narrative. That's like, he's just an ordinary guy, but really,
oh god, the Troy Bolton
behind closed doors. Well, I was thinking more like Walter White.
I know, I was just thinking because we just watched it. Because he literally, they're just talking about his untapped potential. I'm like, this average, like, 5'8" white guy.
Yeah, but have you seen those moves? Have you seen his fucking sick moves?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the Walter White thing of like, oh, he's just an ordinary beat down dude, but inside he's got the potential to be this badass drug lord. But like without any, you don't see Walter learn chemistry.
No.
You don't see him study. You don't see him work.
He already knows all this stuff.
He already knows it. In fact, it's kind of implied that he was just a bit of a prodigy, that he's so intelligent that he just picks it up naturally. And he doesn't have to really make any effort. Same thing with Neo. Is that it's like, oh yeah, it's an innate thing. You are the one.
Yeah.
You are the chosen one. If you just, sit in this chair for a little bit, you'll learn Kung Fu. Awesome. Whoa, check out these YouTube tutorials, Neo. And it's the idea that like, oh yeah, no, I have this untapped potential, and if the world would just stop pushing me down, then I could fully realize, my true power,
my heroic status.
Exactly. But it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not like I just need to, reflect on my own flaws and my own shortcomings and address my tragic level of mediocrity because I have pretty much just dicked around and blamed other people for my shortcomings.
Sat around on the couch playing video games and then complained about why no one thinks I'm great.
Complain about not having friends, complain about not having a girlfriend, complain that the world isn't catering to you when it's like, okay, but what did you do?
What did you do to earn
engage
these things?
with the world, you know?
Like you didn't go out and connect. You didn't start putting work into your personal life, or like even just like it doesn't matter whether it's physical, mental, emotional. You got to put work into each thing. You know.
And it's like, dude, I'm sorry, but
financial, obviously.
Exactly. But that argument is only valid if you've tried.
I know.
Like I get that.
Absolutely.
I get that if you have and again, this is where like the point of those movies and those characters comes in. When it's like, okay, if you have a mental illness, trying to go out and socializing and getting knocked back is sympathetic. If you are queer, trying to start a romantic relationship with someone that you are not actually sexually attracted to, but you're trying to, so that way society will accept you.
Fit in, sure.
That is sad. That is unfortunate, and I sympathize with that. But when it's just some fucking dude who literally has every reason to be getting ahead and just isn't, I think that's where a lot of that anger comes from.
Absolutely.
That they're like, okay, if I believe this rhetoric that the other side is saying, where they're like, you are straight, white, cisgender male.
You should have all the advantages.
You have every privilege going for you. You have all the advantages. So they say, wait, so then
why am I not getting ahead?
Why aren't I awesome?
Yeah.
Is it because I'm actually a bit shit? No, that can't be it. They must be keeping me down. They're trying to sell me on this narrative to keep me from realizing my full potential.
Yeah.
So it's a bummer.
It's disappointing, but again, I think this is where we get this sort of argument of where are all the real men at, and the answer is, well, they didn't grow into men.
Pretty much.
So all the real men are still stuck at like 15. So they're not real men, they're real boys.
I'm
a real boy.
I'm a real boy. A little bit, a lot. Because you even see that with just, unfortunately, it is just a thing in general where you see people who have maybe come from like a disadvantaged background, and sometimes you see like people will point out in the street, oh, look at that dickhead just going off screaming at people in the street, and it's like you start observing the mannerisms in the street, and it's like, oh, developmentally you stayed at 15,
still a teenager,
and that's why your life kind of went off the rails. You just emotionally were not prepped properly to deal with the real world, so everything kind of fell to shit. And you see it with these other guys, except they have a safety net, which allows them to continue. They got parents who allow them to continue living at home. They have, I don't know, a fucking friend who pays their rent for them or something like that.
Well, I mean, if they're living at home, they don't need to.
Oh, yeah, sure. Or their dad gave them a job.
They work for their dad. They still live in the basement.
They don't really have to try hard. You know?
So it's getting a participation award.
Exactly. So they never really slip through the cracks to the same extent that people without those safety nets do.
But of course, when you're living at home alone and you don't really hang out, you don't get out, you don't meet people of like any new people. You know, like, well, how is your view of the world supposed to change?
I'm sorry. Someone was like, rebel without a clue.
And funnily enough, we were just talking about how Rebel Without a Cause is one of like the first sort of examples of like the Edgelord movie. Not maybe first, but at least one of the earliest ones that we can point to that it's currently still sort of permeating popular culture.
The progenitors. That was also in Feek's video as well.
Oh, was it?
That was one of the big points he brought up. Is that it's like, it's pretty much the about the 50s is where the Edgelord model starts from, because you think about it, you're growing up as a white guy, straight white guy, presumably straight white guy in the 50s. It's an unparalleled era of prosperity for you in America at that given time,
and yet you can't get a job or a friend or a girlfriend.
And nothing's working out for you.
Your parents have kicked you out of the house.
You feel like for some reason life is just not going your way. So what do you have to do but blame either yourself or other people?
And no one ever wants to blame themselves.
No one wants to blame themselves.
Actually, you know what? The only people who do want to blame themselves are usually people who have actually been victimized.
Pretty much.
I've come across like the amount of people who have come across who have been through legitimate trauma, who have actually been victimized, who have actually been abused, and they think they're the ones to blame. But all of the people who are living relatively normal lives and they're honestly just kind of depressed because they haven't done anything to try and grow or like improve in any way, they're the ones who are like shifting the blame to somebody else. And it's very unbalanced,
Mm-hmm.
imbalanced, I should say.
It's a bit of it's like a vicious cycle. Like you're like when you get abused, they like someone is essentially trying to degrade you and bring down your sense of self-worth. So that then spawns the idea of, oh, I'm worthless, therefore this must be my fault.
But it's also, I think, that taking away of power.
Exactly.
You don't have any power, so like you're sitting there like, I can't do anything. I'm completely out of control, but it must be my fault.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whereas on the flip side, it's like, no, it must be everyone else's fault.
Yeah.
Because it couldn't just be me not fully realizing my potential.
Or just deciding to do nothing about it. And again, it's not even about fully realizing, because I mean, you don't have to become like the big hero or whatever, but you do need to put in some work to get anywhere.
100%. I would say though that is the trap where I do feel sorry for these guys. Where it's like, yeah, you are told you need to be all the way up here. Anything
and
short,
you will never reach that ideal.
Yeah, you're never going to. And anything short of that is inadequate.
I will say that even really falls into the current social media culture of extreme fitness.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you can't even, like, as a guy, you can't even, like, be pretty fit anymore.
Yeah.
If you're not, like, pretty jacked, you're not fit enough. You clearly haven't been working hard enough.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's not even getting into the fucking, like, false perception of what a, like,
what fitness actually looks like without drugs.
Yeah, without drugs and, like, intense dehydration and starvation.
Yeah. And I will say that I think there's a large majority of the population who don't realize the amount of fit guys who are on drugs.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean? It's because it's not talked about, it's stigmatized and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah, that's a completely other thing.
But, that this ideal that, as a man in society these days, you do have to be, like, a certain amount of jacked.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the reasons why, like, I'm not huge by any means, but I do like lifting a lot, and I do like working out, but I really don't want to ever be one of those guys who's, taking thirst traps for the Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's not because I can or can't. I just don't want to feed into that idea.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which kind of sucks in a way, because I like making progress in everything I do, and I like showing that progress no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But this is one of those things where I'm probably just going to keep to myself and my family and friends.
That's fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. One of the other topics I wanted to bring up before I forget it again was, just all this shit we're talking about. The reason, like a massive part of the reason why I think it becomes so widespread is, that commitment to subtlety and subtext. That like, if you're smart, like you'll see it. It's like, but the people,
the people who need to
hear this are not that smart. They are going to misinterpret it. The fact that the Joker is supposed to be this analysis of like mental health, but then also of entitlement and of narcissism, because Arthur is 100% has delusions of grandeur.
Arthur?
Oh, his name is Arthur Fleck in it.
Oh, in the Joaquin
Phoenix version, yeah.
Sorry,
he hasn't seen it. I don't care.
That they gave him a name and an origin.
Yeah.
Part of the point of the Joker is that he doesn't have those.
I know, but
that's a whole other argument.
But that was the point of the movie. But whatever. In it, it's like, sure. Yeah, he's mentally ill, and you can argue that point like all you want. But at the end of the movie, they do a whole like kind of like ambiguous sort of reveal that he's in a mental hospital, and the whole movie could have just been a delusion of grandeur. And it's like, like all these things that he does in it, it's not supposed to be awesome. It's not great that he kills Robert De Niro's character. It's not admirable. It's this guy just taking out his anger and self-pity on this external force that he feels has victimized him, when Murray says it himself. He says, like, you don't know anything about me.
Yeah.
He assumes, like, oh, you're just a bully, and you put me down, and you made fun of me on your show.
Yeah.
Where, he makes fun of people because he's a comedian.
That's literally what he does.
And like, maybe he does have a point that Murray was being a bit mean.
Yeah.
But, as Murray says, you know nothing about me.
Yeah.
You don't know where I came from.
Yeah.
You don't know what I had to do to get here.
Yeah.
He could have even a very similar backstory to him, where he had a mental illness and he overcame it. But the assumption is, no, I'm the victim, you're the bully, and I am justified in ending you because, I have been wronged.
Yeah, and I will say that that's a very common theme of just assuming.
Yeah.
Like, there's never a fully fleshed out idea or like realistic sort of concept of why this person is holding me down or how.
Yeah.
There's just I I feel oppressed, therefore I am. And it's like,
oppressed.
let's look at the facts.
Like, do you have receipts though?
Yeah, exactly.
Because other people do.
Yeah.
It's not like it's that hard to prove. It's you will see it.
Minority communities have like shitloads of evidence. Even though lots of evidence has been flushed away,
it just keeps getting burned.
It keeps getting burned. There's still shitloads of evidence, and it doesn't matter exactly which community.
Yeah, no, it is consistent.
It's consistent across minority communities, and I will say that it's so funny that so much of alternative culture, like with like rock and metal and stuff, seems to be centered around like straight white guys. When it's like so much of the art that actually goes into alternative culture generally comes from someone who's actually oppressed, at least in some small way.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's like, and that's a consistent thing where something is made by someone from a particular kind of minority. It is made for their own audience. They're people like them.
Or in some cases, it's just made to be enjoyed in some way.
Or just made to be enjoyed in some way. But then still somehow gets reappropriated as a straight white guy movie. Or a straight white guy TV show or character. And it's like, this character was meant to be an allegory for repressed homosexuality.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are dude bros jumping onto it?
That's actually one of the things that why I brought up Chucky is because you get through the whole thing, you can really see it.
And then those same dudes, when the remake is made with more themes from the original like intention, but with more freedom, because like, hey, it's 2021, you can have queer characters in a TV show now. These same guys come out of the woodwork and say, "Oh man, this show is so woke. What the fuck? Like, why did they have to PC the character up? I missed the good old days when Star Trek was just about space adventures." And they didn't have all this fucking stupid PC bullshit ruining it.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was the exact argument. So, like, watching Chucky, I was watching it on a site that has comments, right? Looking through the comments, there's quite a few dudes just being like, yeah, the Chucky series was great until they made it so gay. I'm like, it's always been pretty gay, though.
Yeah, dude made it gay.
Right from the start.
Yeah.
Like, it became slightly more obvious with each movie, but it's always been there.
I mean, the gayness was inside of us all along.
Yeah. They tried to argue, like, Bride of Chucky is just a footnote in the Chucky history. And it's
of course
it's the most important movie in the franchise. It's like the turning point of the fuck. It's what kept the franchise alive.
Pretty much, yeah. And like, it was through the director being able to put a little bit more of himself into the
literally film. Express himself just a little bit more clearly.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say like the fucking the biggest downfall of it on the side of the people making these mediums is again the subtlety, and sometimes they're forced into it.
Yeah, sometimes it's a money situation.
It is a money situation. Sometimes it's the studios told them, was like, no, you can't have your protagonist explicitly say they're gay. You cannot have them. You cannot have I don't know. We can't have Black Panther beating up the KKK. Like, no, absolutely not.
Imagine if they made that.
Oh, they did it as a comic.
Oh, really?
In the original, one of the original runs of Black Panther, the execs at Marvel complained that there weren't enough white people in the Black Panther comics. Ooh. So the next issue, they had Black Panther fighting the KKK, and they were like, "There you go, there's white people.
There you go, enjoy, guys."
But yeah, the subtlety is the biggest problem, and I just want to bring up before we run out of time that you really see that in Joker. And it's kind of like one of the biggest downfalls of the movie is like kind of like where they pull back. There's a moment where there's this woman that he essentially is like infatuated with that lives in his apartment block, and you think that he starts a relationship with her. It turns out it was a total Fight Club moment, and he was imagining it.
She didn't exist.
No, she exists.
Oh, he just imagined.
He imagined being in a relationship with her.
Right.
I was going to bring it back to the default scene.
Ah, yes, Fight Club.
So he imagined it all, and then he like breaks into her apartment, and like after he has like a really bad day, and she doesn't recognize him, and that's when he clicks to it, and then the very heavy implication after that is that he kills her.
Oh Jesus!
He does this thing where he like does this this thing on his head and like starts laughing, and she kind of like looks really scared, and then it just cuts to him back in his own apartment crying on the couch.
Jesus!
And there's a police siren in the background. So it's implied that he murdered this woman, but it's not stated, and that would have been the moment where inarguably Arthur is the bad guy
Yeah.
of the film.
Yeah, they should have shown it if they were going with that.
They really should have shown it. Maybe
Yeah.
they didn't want to show on screen like, oh, yeah, cool guys. Hey, you know what would be cool to watch? This white guy murdering this black single mother.
It's like
This would be awesome. Like, it's not like there's not enough of this. There's not enough of this in the world, right?
I get what you're saying. That is like, make the point or
but
fucking
make the fucking point.
Yeah.
Like, I get that maybe this was touchy and maybe you didn't want to like ruffle too many feathers, but at the same time, it's like, dude, no, this kind of needs to be ruffled.
Yeah, you can't get this close to the point and then shy away.
Yeah,
from
yeah,
it. Like I said, either make it or don't.
Those
But don't go halfway.
Yeah, the jimmies must be rustled. And I would say, yeah, that's a consistent problem is that they go to the edge and then they pull back, and that ambiguity, that gray area, is what allows the discussion of, but maybe Thanos had a point, guys, to flourish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to reader questions and comments now.
Questions number 2.
You're gonna put it up, okay?
Yeah, put it up. Yeah.
So Sylvan saying, just want to see. Oh, we did that. Okay. Thank you, by the way, Sylvan. I appreciate you. Yeah. I can only recommend to check out Hassan Minaj on Netflix because you can clearly see that they have worked really hard to make smart comedy. It's just so rare nowadays. Fair enough. Yeah. I've seen him come up on YouTube a bit. I don't really watch a lot of stand-up comedy. So.
Yeah.
Hello from Malta.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Where is Malta again?
I don't know. I swear I did know at one point, but I don't remember. So I'm
Tell us.
I'm just not going to say, yeah, let us know.
Hang on. I'm glad the direction with male characters goes more towards them being emotionally aware and that being seen as a good thing, even in rom club. You mean that the direction is going more towards male awareness? Yeah, absolutely. Getting multifaceted male characters who are actually empathetic and not just, I guess, seen as empathetic.
A good example of that, honestly, is Steven Universe.
Yeah,
he's a total crybaby, but it's framed. It's like it's a good thing. He's in touch with his emotions. He's empathetic.
Sure,
he's a sweet guy, you know, and that's good. Cool. His biggest challenge is overcoming the world, essentially trying to beat that out of him.
Cool. Yeah. So I feel like edgelords exist because they need a cause, even though they don't have a reason. It's the thing like, I'm mad that my life is perfect, so I'm different since... Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're getting into.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, they have a made-up reason.
Yeah, since everyone else's life is hard, so edgelord is like an effort to be relevant. Pretty much.
Yeah, it's literally like the rich musician trying to put themselves into like a poor or oppressed or struggle sort of situation because they know that good music only comes from people who have had actual hard lives.
Oh yeah, well just change and
not only but
yeah.
most common.
No, yeah, it's very common, but just change and self-improvement comes from adversity.
Yeah, you have to have something to say.
Yeah, you won't grow if there's not a reason for you to grow. Your brain is hardwired for stability, not change. So yeah, your natural default state is maintain. And yeah, if nothing is challenging you and pushing you, then you're not going to. Yeah.
Thanks for constantly providing a light in this world for people that want to do things and be good to others.
Oh,
no worries.
Thanks, Sleep was awesome.
Yeah. Stuck in the basement, yeah. well, a lot of men have kept childish personalities because no one told them they're being childish or close-minded or anything like that. And of course, a lot of media perpetuates that. Totally agree. I would definitely find that even for me specifically, there was certain behaviors that I had hardwired into me from like school friends and movies and I guess just random other guys playing sport and like other stuff. And me being an only child to a single parent, there's a lot of things that I just had to sort of learn by osmosis from everybody else.
Yeah.
And some of those things were like really, really problematic and misogynistic.
Yeah.
And it really definitely took certain people along the way pulling me aside relatively viciously.
Yeah.
And being like, bruh, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you really think that women like this? I'm like, yes.
I feel like you want me to say no.
Yeah. And like, but you know, you have those conversations. It's like, oh, yeah, that would be kind of demeaning.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. I'd say that on the opposite end, when you grow up, say with an older brother in a culture like Italian culture, which has a heavy focus on patriarchal values and machismo, then you kind of end up in an echo chamber where even the women in your life are encouraging these toxic traits because they've even been raised to believe by other women in their lives that no, these are appropriate traits for a man to have, or this is just an unfortunate downside of being around men is they get angry sometimes and they're gonna punch a hole in the wall, but don't worry, it's totally normal as long as he doesn't lay a hand on you. But then when he does, then it's but it was just a little shove. It was just a black eye. It could have been worse.
One of the things about that particular mentality and behavior of you just punch a wall or a pillow or something when you're angry, that all that teaches you to punch things when you're angry.
Exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, it's just the whole thing of anger isn't an emotion, guys. That's just a natural outlet.
Fucking watch Mooncat's video on Tony Robbins. She's done 2.
Okay.
They're both an hour and a half.
All right.
It's Moon with a U-N-E. M-U-N-E. Mooncat.
We'll put that in the link.
Put that in the link. Yeah. And to be fair, she puts up quite a few trigger warnings, and there are definitely some moments where it's I can't watch this anymore.
Yeah.
This is fucking destroying my soul on the inside. Just from the middle out.
Yeah. Yeah, right from the heart.
Yeah, I actually haven't even finished one particular section, the Me Too section of her Tony Robbins video, because it's just so painful to watch.
Yeah.
The conversation he's having with an Italian woman where he literally just gaslights her for a whole hour in front of an audience of thousands. It's that's pretty intense.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
You need to stop Thanos to be good enough.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Series like Death Note or films like Fight Club that actually criticize those attitudes, people have glorified the main characters and are looking at them as negative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Death Note is actually a really good example. Thanks. I totally forgot about that one.
Fair enough. I think to your point, it's important that male characters are more open about their mental health issues as real issues that need work, and that it's not an excuse, but something that needs to be real. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very much.
100%. It's something that guys have been consistently being taught that you're only allowed to feel anger or, I suppose, excitement over winning.
Yeah.
The only time you're allowed to express something is when you win.
Yeah, pretty much.
What I mean?
Yeah, excitement and anger aren't emotions.
Well, I mean, they are, but they're just a very limited scope of emotion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'd say even with the mental health part, I'd say it's usually brought up, but either as a free pass, well, they're mentally ill, so we can't blame them for shooting up that school, or as a tool to demonize it. It's oh man, the Joker's just so crazy. That's why he likes killing people. Mentally ill people want to harm you, even though they are statistically way more likely to be harmed by people who do not have mental illnesses or do harm onto themselves. So way more at risk than the other way around. But it's used as the scary, crazy people are coming for you.
Yeah. If you look at You, it is made very clear what a mentally disturbed human the main character is, and because he doesn't see it and doesn't work on it, he can't escape his cycle of mistakes. I haven't seen that, but from what I hear, that seems pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Waiting for Valkyrie to get a girlfriend, sure.
100%, dude. 100%.
I like movies that don't spell it out. Yeah, we all like movies that don't spell it out, but the problem is that that's not helping.
Yeah, it's nice for us.
It's great for anyone who's smart enough to pick up on those things, but the majority of people who need to hear those messages aren't smart enough, and that subtlety just makes it more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to just accept dudes who misinterpret Fight Club as just a natural part of the world that's just always going to happen, then that's a position to take. But me, I think that it's no, it's getting to a point where we need to be a little more blatant.
Well, we're seeing the damage done from these movies and just pop media in general, because I'll say it ties to music and TV shows and even comic. Well, not even, most definitely comics at certain points.
Yeah. But this is not a diss on you personally, but for you and I, it's the difference between a movie being having more subtlety or less subtlety, but for someone else, it's the difference between someone being raised to just hate an entire demographic of people and then being the victim of that hate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity in comedy, does that count as part of edgelord dynamics?
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say that's a result of edgelord dynamics for sure.
Yeah, it's just less common, but I mean, Rick and Morty is a comedy series, so that 100% Rick would 100% like tick both of those categories.
Mm.
It's just a bit less common, or at least maybe a bit less recognized. But I think it's comedians
just
in
becoming less
shows,
so now because we're getting more smart people.
Yeah.
But I mean, the mid 2000s was full of these guys.
So much,
You know?
massively, almost just dependent on it.
If it does, I'd say that Schmidt in New Girl is a good example of a douchebag, toxic male character that eventually is able to evolve and be able to be a mature, more respectful person, especially towards women. See, I tapped out of New Girl about episode 17, roughly around the time when Schmidt was... I think it was Schmidt? No, it wasn't Schmidt. It was the... I can't remember their names. I didn't watch enough of the show. God damn it. One of those dudes was going around trying to pick up college girls. Like, that was his whole thing. And it's like, bro, aren't you 30, though?
Okay.
It's a bit late for that.
Yeah, I mean, technically, look, they are technically adults.
Oh yeah,
it's just.
But here's the thing: a lot of American college students are like 18, 19.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. It's just it's the consistency. It's the I go for girls who are 10, 20 years younger than me, and they're adults. It's like, yes, but it's the fact that you consistently go for someone with a massive age gap. It makes me think that
you need to watch the show. He's not consistently doing that. It just happens in one episode.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm
It's
just
a
talking
specific story.
I am just talking about generally. That
Yeah.
Someone who does that, like saying not. I'm not criticizing someone who's like, they happen to marry
date someone who's younger than
them. I'm criticizing the consistent targeting of people who are much less developed and experienced than you, and it leads me to believe that it's like you're not just you are going for them because you feel the power difference.
You're talking about Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, and all the guys like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Hollywood.
Yeah,
Just Hollywood.
So final segment here. It's just
yeah.
free form. So anything you guys want to throw in, obviously
just
we'll
want to chat. We just chat.
discuss. Yeah. End of the episode. We'll call it the last half hour.
I should put a title here. Something.
Outro. Half hour outro.
The final countdown.
Final countdown.
And I'll just play it on repeat in the background. Get instantly demonetized.
Oh god, we'll have to start paying extra money to the band Europe. Actually, no, to their record label.
Yes, it's not going to the band.
No. Well, I just watched last night in Soho and can definitely say after that movie that the real horror is men. I'm joking, by the way. The movie is also... We haven't seen it.
I mean, you might be right, though.
Maybe. Who knows? I've been wanting to watch One Punch Man because I thought the premise was super awesome and original, being literally the best but still struggling with social dynamics with others, friends. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call that particularly original. But a good idea, sure. I haven't seen it.
I think I saw the first season.
Okay.
But it was a while ago.
Right.
It does bother me when people take the Patrick Bateman character. Man, that is a good fucking example.
Yeah, as something to idolize or even crush on. It's kind of scary. 100%.
Yeah, and that's really scary. And that's even, I mean, shit, that can be fucking used as an example against my argument for more blatancy. Because how more blatant can you get than American Psycho?
No,
He is a psycho. He kills people.
That is exactly kind of the point I was trying to make, though. This is like, you can't be any kind of subtle in this, and there were still elements of subtlety. They still tried to be a relatively smart movie, even though it was probably one of the most blatant examples of a tragic figure who's not a hero.
Yeah.
But how many people didn't get that? So was it really that clear?
Yeah.
Was it really that obvious?
I mean, how much more? I mean, again, I'm coming from this.
I know, but it doesn't fucking matter how you're like, well, I'm smart enough to get it. Well, this is not about you, though.
Do you need to be smart to get like a dude chasing a woman down a hole with a chainsaw?
Apparently.
As, like, well, maybe this isn't the good guy.
Yes!
Like, Christ.
Apparently you do.
Yeah, apparently.
This is, again, my point of, like, you can't be any kind of a subtle. It's not working.
Yeah, but I think that's the point where you cross over from, this movie is being misinterpreted to just, like, psychos and horrible people are outing themselves. When you're idolizing the monster in a slasher fic, like, okay, you're a bad person. This is why you relate to this character. If you look at a dude chasing a woman down a hall with a chainsaw, and you're like, yeah, this guy is sick.
That's too black and white.
You're just outing yourself.
That's too black and white, dude. I hear what you're trying to say, but
if you're getting your jimmies off to that, then
getting your
you're
jimmies
a
off.
Sketchy dude.
There's a difference between, I guess, idolizing is the right word, because it depends on how hard you're going in here.
Yeah,
because I really enjoy the Chucky character, but at the same time, I don't want to be Chucky.
But that's sorry, I should have clarified. That is separate.
Yeah,
that is
But you see what I'm saying? It's like you have to be really clear.
And also there are dudes who will claim that it's like, no, man, I don't idolize him. I just think that he's a cool like monster as a concept. That's all.
Well, the fact that Chucky's really funny is
Yeah.
kind of a problem. And like in some of the media, like in Bride Seed, and I would say the new one, he's supposed to be funny. So that works out. But then there are times in the ones where he's not really supposed to be funny, where those are the more popular movies are the ones that aren't accepted by old culture, which is unfortunately because they're the best ones.
Yeah.
And I will include the TV show in this. But, you know, they had to move away from Bride and Seed of Chucky because it's like it brought more people and popularity to the franchise and held it alive. But then, like, the hardcore fans hated it because so many of them were just angry straight white guys.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah. Which is, by the way, the reason we haven't really got back to Child's Play the series on our channel. Which, as much as I really badly want to, I also don't want to have to deal with the big influx of guys.
Yeah.
So the YouTube channel pointed out that Aragorn from Lord of the Rings is the perfect example of positive masculinity. You know what? My sister was saying the exact same thing a couple of days ago.
I've seen that. Yeah. And he is.
There you go.
Aragorn
because he's emotional and
he's
like
emotionally
empathetic.
Sensitive. Yeah. When he like one of the like fucking key scenes that someone brought up was when Boromir died and Aragorn kissed him on the head.
Yeah.
He shows physical affection to other men because he cares for them.
And there's nothing gay about kissing a dude on the head.
Pretty much, yeah. We do it all the time. No, I'm kidding. What? It's just bros being bros.
I'm like, wait, when?
Don't worry about it. That was a joke. I'm sorry.
Totally joke.
But no, it's like, but yeah, I love it because it's kind of like Aragorn is so old because he's like over 100, I'm pretty sure, that he's literally he's too old for this shit.
Yeah.
He's too old for your bullshit, childish, like, no, that's fucking like lame. Don't show weakness. He's just like, bruh.
Whatever.
Bruh.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Ooh, super excited to finally make it to a live. Thank you, Emily.
Oh, thanks, Emily.
Jade is apparently kind of late again.
That's okay.
It's okay.
So are we.
Yeah, unfortunately, so are we. That's true.
Soccer's
character also starts out as a toxic male character, and the show does a great job in showing how it never works in his favor.
Yep.
Agreed. But I think that they did that on purpose, which I'm sure you're sort of trying to say here, but like they very quickly had him growing the fuck up.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that they didn't stick with that very long. Like, the point of those little toxic storylines for him was so that we could quickly get on to the, no, this is not cool, let's move past this toxic bullshit.
And also just to show, like, young boys watching the show. It's like, hey, this is what happens when you act like a dick. Some girl's gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
Oh, even fucking, what's another good example? Just came to me. Was Johnny Bravo. Some people were bringing it up, saying like, "Oh man, like, can't believe this was a show. He's so disgusting and horrible."
He's a satire.
And people were like, "Yeah, but that was the point.
Yeah.
Every time he's a douchebag to women, they kick his ass.
It doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out. That's what I was supposed to be pointing out."
Yeah. Well, you know what? Same thing with the John Michael Higgins character, who's also named John in Pitch Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
The commentator. The point of his character is to make fun of, like, toxic men.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I could still see some people getting, like, not super upset or offended, but just like, oh, like, I don't like this. Why do we have to have this? It's like, well, you do have to point out behavior like this for it to be noticed and understood.
It does need to be talked about. It can be really difficult, and if you can't,
tough to joke about, but you have to do it.
Man, if you get triggered by certain things, it's fine for you to just to just be
not triggered.
No, like, actually, you can be triggered by certain topics and like subjects and
stuff.
But
we're not talking. We're talking about people getting angry at.
Oh,
like,
okay, all right, sure.
I just don't want to, because again, that's very clear. Getting triggered is not just, oh, I felt anger because of a thing.
And I know that. No, I do know.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying, like, just generally, it's okay for you to leave a conversation if you can't deal with it. If you can't handle it, it's okay.
Oh, sure, but I think that for a lot of people, you really do need to be able to, like, listen to difficult arguments.
Yeah.
I was kind of late, but I had an online role-playing session F1 race, and everything was overlapping this afternoon. It was crazy. Fair enough, Christina. I'm glad you're here, though.
Yeah.
Hello, Miriam. How you doing?
Hey.
If you look at our society, we're still so freaking obsessed with forgiving a white heterosexual male everything, but every time, I assume. But if it's a person of any other demographic, we immediately go, how dare you? Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, 100%.
It's kind of like it's like the gay marriage thing of like, oh, like if straight people can get divorced all they want, But when gay people start getting divorced, it's
that's
you see,
proof.
they can't handle it. They just don't have the same level of commitment and values that straight people have.
Like straight people in American society, the divorce rate, I think last time I checked, was like 63% or something.
And then
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then
or even higher, maybe.
The pressure you would feel as a queer person in a same-sex relationship.
Yeah, you have to stay together.
No, we have to stay together.
And it's not even staying together for the kids; it's staying together for the overall culture.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's an intense one.
To preserve. The neighbors down the road's opinion of us.
Yeah.
God, fuck me.
So we don't fall out of favor. Yeah.
It's because a lot of people start romanticizing toxic bad behaviors at an early age, like the after series 365 Days, 50 Shades. Yeah, the idea of staying with the bad guy will improve him.
Yeah. And I think we definitely need to get more and more onto this idea of like, that guy that you want to change, like, I can change him. You can't.
No, you can't.
No. Like, he can change himself. Well, it may or may not happen, but the only way he's going to change is on his own terms.
He can only change himself.
That's
and mind
what I mean.
you, that is not saying that, like, this person had a bad upbringing, or this person has a mental illness, and are you invalidating that? No, I'm saying that ultimately these things can influence you, and they do influence you. But the decision to try and combat those things, take steps to get around them, you're not necessarily going to succeed, but the decision to try and to acknowledge that you have a problem and try to take measures to get around it, that is a personal choice.
It only happens internally.
Yeah, and I think that is what someone meant when they said happiness is a choice. And then that got extrapolated as you're being depressed on purpose.
But this is exactly the point where I was saying earlier, where a lot of these quick sayings that are really like intelligent and like profound, unfortunately, they're not specific enough for the people who really need to hear them.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh my god, I just remembered how the opening of American Psycho could perfectly disguise itself as a morning routine video from one of these dude bro bloggers down to the monotone delivery.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I sort of, like, I haven't seen the movie, but I sort of know what you mean because they go through his whole, morning workout and everything. And yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. And the problem with that is, like, then you can't be into fitness without being, like, the self-obsessed sort of asshole. And, like, that bums me out. I'm like, what? I can't check out my own physique in the mirror and be like, oh, yeah, I made some progress here, here, and here. That's great. Because that's toxic. And that's a real disappointment for me because there's a lot of things that I enjoy that would be seen that way, and I'm like, but I don't enjoy it for those reasons.
Yeah, but I would say that is another problem, is people trying to point out external traits and hobbies and interests as the root cause.
Yeah, rather than a symptom of.
Yeah, it's kind of like the video games cause violence thing. Where it's like, no, violent people cause violence.
Yeah.
Just because he played video games as well doesn't mean that was the cause. And it's the same with like, oh yeah, fucking basement dwelling anime nerds. Literally, just because he lives in a basement and watches anime doesn't mean that he's a bad person.
100.
It can have an influence because maybe watching like exclusively anime since he was 8 years old has warped his perception of how his interactions with women are supposed to go. Yeah. And maybe living, staying in a basement all day has warped his perception of how interactions with other people are supposed to go because he doesn't talk to people anymore. But they are not the root cause.
Yeah.
They can influence, but it's not fair to just see that somebody has a collection of anime and be like, oh, you're sexist, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I like anime. I know that there's heaps of fucking problems with it, but that doesn't mean that I'm a creep.
Yeah. And like I will say, for me personally, that's one of the reasons I'm really happy. Like one of the earliest things of proper anime that I saw was like the first 5 or 6 episodes of Neon Genesis. Yeah, that really put me off.
Oh, that's another one, dude.
I saw that and I was like, oh, no, okay, even I'm not this bad.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But even that one, dude, like, the guy who made it was severely depressed.
Super depressed, I know.
So, and again, it just gets extrapolated by assholes.
The idea that staying in a bad situation will improve if you try hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really depends on what that situation, like, there's so much context, but when it comes to, like, an abusive relationship, that's... You can't fix them.
No, you cannot.
They could fix themselves if they actually try.
Yeah.
But this is another common thing where, like, someone will break up with someone who's abusive, and it usually takes them, like, I think on average 7 attempts to do so.
Jesus.
But when they finally get there, they'll break up with someone who's toxic, and then that person realizes from the breakup, not all the time, but sometimes, oh, I am messed up, so I do need to change, and they'll start to change, but they're only doing it to win back that person.
Yeah, and that's inherently bad, but
that's
movies keep framing that as romantic.
Well, yeah, but then also the problem, of course, is that I want to say women, but it's not always women. Just people will find, like, the abused will find themselves in this situation where it's like, oh, well, they're making progress, and I owe it to them to help them progress.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but they won't really do it if I'm not there. And it's like, well, that's a problem, because then they don't really want to do it.
Yeah. It's you have to do it for yourself.
100%.
It has to be for yourself. It does not work if you don't do it for yourself.
Yeah. Maybe it's because women have been conditioned since forever to improve men or support men through their toxicity, and that's why we have it ingrained in ourselves to save people, which never works, by the way. Yeah.
100%.
And I would say, honestly, it's probably more like 99.99% of the time it doesn't work, because there's always exceptions to the rule, but the problem is that people always take that exception as gospel.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the whole, the false... And, you know, we really can't we can't talk about sexual assault as clearly, because our shit will be like...
Yeah. Here's another one of those hard limits that get put in place, which force you to be subtle, I
guess on the plus side, we're not monetized now, so we can't get demonetized.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we do have to be careful about that.
Yeah, no, we're going to have to start.
Sorry, I got distracted from what my own point is. I don't remember what my point was, because I just remembered, like, oh my god, we're going to get we're not going to get money. We'll never get paid again. Which,
we got to eat, guys.
Still got to eat. That's why Chandler over Ross, even if I'm not as big of a fan of Friends as I used to. I think that's the common theme of people being like, I still love Friends, but goddamn.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing I was even going to say. That's why Joey over Ross as well.
Joey, yeah.
And this brings up 2 topics that I want to bring up for future videos, for future streams. Is is this still going?
What?
Put it over there? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. It disappeared, and I was like, got paranoid. But yeah, there's 2 topics. Was one, fix-it relationships in media, which is that whole like, oh yeah, like I can change him.
Yeah.
And yeah, the toxic nerd versus wholesome jock, which is like, the whole Ross versus Joey dynamic of like, how your interests do not dictate how good of a person you are. You know? And they're not an indicator either.
Yeah. Hang on. I love watching you guys discuss stuff. I feel like you both have a really healthy perspective on things, and it's super refreshing to see on social media. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do try. As I've previously stated, a lot of these thought processes and ideas we've had have evolved over time.
Oh, yes.
And I'm not going to speak for you, but me specifically, and I did touch on this before, I definitely grew up with a lot of misplaced ideas. Some of them even perpetuated by my mom unintentionally, and my mom is a very loving, supportive, empathetic person, but there are a few things ingrained, I think, from patriarchal society, where it was just like, she taught me things that just it's like, no, this is totally okay, and it's like, I didn't get enough context on some of those things, because there are definitely times where, like, I've never been abusive. I've never done anything where I knew the person was being hurt in any way. But I've definitely done things where people will laugh on the outside and smile on the outside, but then, later on, they're really hurt by it, and maybe they'll pull me aside in private and be like, yo, this really fucking hurt me. And I was like, really? Fucking why? And I had to have an hour-long discussion with, a few different people. Gay guy at one point, girl at a bar at one point. Didn't know her, but I slapped her on the butt. I was
because sports.
But because I was no.
Okay.
Because I was encouraged to do this by other guys. It's girls totally like that. That's a perfectly acceptable flirting technique. And I was like, really? Fucking all right. And then one girl had to pull me aside. She literally grabbed me by the nuts and was just like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, what?
What?
What do you mean?
I thought this was cool.
And she's really angry about it, and she had this conversation with me and explained how she felt, and I was like, oh. And then I looked back at my history oh shit.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
But yeah, like, I was
Yep.
I was an only child raised by a single parent, and there's a lot of things I just didn't fucking pick up along the way, and it's
Yep.
really depressing to look back at my teenage and early 20 years and be like, man,
Yeah.
what did I do?
Yeah. Yeah. I look back on that shit and I'm just like, you fucking wondered why you were single.
I know,
Like,
I know,
dude.
like, bro,
What the hell? Because
the
yeah, I
fuck?
100% was very much on the incel track.
Oh yeah,
Let's call it.
I could have easily ended up that way.
Yeah, very
Heavily,
much so.
yeah.
And that's where, honestly, most of this criticism comes from. It's kind of almost like directed at my past self. It's almost like directed at the guys that I see myself
Yeah,
in them. And I'm
myself
like,
and my high school friends.
please
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
It's not too late. You can still like
You could be a
turn
better
things
person.
around. You can be a better person.
Yeah,
Because it's as much of it's not actually no, that's wrong. It's not as much of a detriment to them, but it's also a detriment to them.
Mhm.
Like you are not going to be happy just hating women. You're not going to be happy just blaming other people for your own shortcomings for your entire life because you're never going to fix your shortcomings.
Yeah.
And things are never going to get better.
Yeah.
You just have the false illusion of control by assigning blame and anger to this external group, but then nothing changes internally.
Well, I would say that one of the reasons we were able to have turning points is maybe the fact that we were raised primarily by our mothers.
Yeah.
I mean, you absolutely had influence from your dad, and I know that, and
Yeah.
I had some, but being able to have that empathy, and it really makes me wonder about the guys who are raised with like single mother and a sister and no dad or brothers, and I was like, man, how'd you still end up so shit?
Yeah. Yeah. Friends. That's how
It's literally
dude
because
friends.
when you're a teenager, you start spending more time outside of the house
Yeah.
without your family.
You don't get it
with
from-
other dudes.
Yeah, and
living
that's-
in an echo chamber.
And that's the turning point where it was like, oh, he was such a nice boy. What happened?
Mhm.
He made friends. He made friends with dudes. That's
Bad
what happened.
friends, yeah.
And yeah, I found in my experience, the turning point for me where I started getting more, fucking quote unquote woke, was when my parents divorced again. So I stopped living with my dad, and I kind of made an effort to make more female friends because I realized, like, man, yeah, maybe I should just like stop having an ulterior motive when I talk to girls. And it was still kind of was with the ulterior motive of like, if I make friends that are girls, they'll introduce me to their friends and I can date them. Still, it put me in an environment where I was just listening to the opinions and perspectives of predominantly women for the first time in my life and was like, whoa, you guys think that's creepy? Holy shit, I didn't know.
It's interesting though, like, just having female friends doesn't do it on its own. Because I absolutely had female friends all throughout school and like my early years, and I was still kind of shitty.
No.
You know what I mean?
I think it was just a shock.
Or for you,
the shock to the system.
But for me, growing up in that, I would say that a lot of these girls were just afraid to say this, that, or the other because they're like, oh no, but like all of these guys are telling me I'm wrong, so I don't want to tell my close friend who I actually care about that he's an asshole.
Exactly. And then you use that as a, but like, she thinks it's fine.
My best bud over here thinks I'm totally cool.
Yep.
But she also, like, those girls weren't coming to the bar with me. They weren't trying to pick up girls with me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Step one is also always recognize that there's a problem by yourself. If you can't see it, there will be no progress. You're the only person that can change you, and it's an active choice. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. If psychology and movies is something that interests you, there's a YouTube channel called Sympatherapy.
We know about that.
Sympatherapy, sure. Learn code phrases for when you're talking about sensitive topics such as essay instead of sexual. Yes, that's kind of what I was trying to get at before. So thank you, Jade.
Thanks.
Your interests do not dictate how good of a person you are. Exactly. Yeah. Love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cinematherapy is awesome, and they are two amazing examples of positive masculinity. Absolutely. I think reflecting is a big part of how you become a better person, and it shows with you guys. But being perfect is not the point, but improvement is the important part. Yeah. I guess that's exactly what we're trying to say. Yeah, you have to have that ability to look in the mirror and actually question yourself.
Yeah, and also just acknowledge that at any given point in your life, right up until your deathbed, you are an unfinished project.
Always.
You know when you're done. You know when you are a finished project. Is when you're dead.
Yeah.
Because that is when no other change can happen from that point onwards, and that is when you are a whole completed work.
Yeah.
You know.
Never let go of the idea that you're a student.
Yeah.
Never ever let go of the idea that there's some. That research is something that you can let go of.
Yeah. The only thing I get from people who say, well, I just feel like I don't need to learn anymore is just like, you You think you're perfect, and you're not.
Well, not even perfect. It's just like you think you've achieved enough.
Well,
I even have a little bit of this problem with like I don't practice guitar as much anymore because I'm like, what else do I need to add to my bag?
Yeah.
I mean, there are things I don't have, sure, but do I need them?
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, it's more like, do you want them?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, some of those things I do, but I will say injuries play a part.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Nonetheless,
thankfully, we're always allowed to change our minds and do better. Yeah.
well, technically,
You should be.
should be
You
allowed
should
to.
be.
Yeah. Makes me think about the movie He's Just Not That Into You. It's a perfect example about pushing the narrative that you should be the girl that is the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that. I'm going to need to go back and look.
Like you don't have worth unless he changes for you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a rough one. Yeah.
That's rough.
I hear your
Improving
point.
him gives you worth, which of course is total bullshit. Yeah.
Right, yeah, no, improving yourself gives you worth.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Well, you give yourself worth.
Yeah, exactly.
You are the only person who can give you worth.
And you can't just do it by saying it. You need to actually do it.
Fucking super underrated message from Captain Marvel also.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry to call back to the previous video that we did in this, but I am just really fucking annoyed by how shit on that movie got when it had such a great core message and how fucked over it got in the production and everything when the core message was, I don't have to prove myself to you.
The core message should have been that.
Well, she said it word for word. I have nothing to prove to you.
Yeah, but like it just doesn't like I hear what you're saying. I just don't think that they made that clear enough.
Oh no, but that's what I mean by screwed over by production, screwed over by
I see what you're
meddling.
saying.
It's like, but the core message and the idea of it was so good. Like that moment where fucking Jude Law's character is trying to bait her into another fight. And she's like, "Oh, shut the fuck up!
Yeah.
I don't have to prove anything to you, asshole."
I did enjoy that.
I'm not dependent on your perception of me. That's awesome, and that is exactly what we're talking about here. It's like you validate yourself.
Yeah.
If you depend on external things for validation, you will never get it.
Yeah.
You know.
Kudos to that girl literally pulling aside to talk to you about that. I hope she's doing well still. Yeah, given what I know about that girl, I really hope so too. She was a really nice person, but I know that she had her own stuff going on. So I lost faith on humanity before I found this show.
Oh, Celeste.
We have heard a few people say stuff like that.
I mean, I'm happy.
I'm glad that we can give you hope, but it's sad that it came to this point.
Us?
Well, no, I mean that's
these fucking schmucks. I'll say this magical thing or do this smooth trick. She will change her mind is the worst. And I'm like, dude, I don't know why. Yeah, that's fair. Oh, there's one thing I fucking saw was like, are you really do you really have just a nurturing personality, or were you an eldest sister who was put in charge of raising her siblings? You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree with you both there with your hating your... No, I don't hate myself. I hate your younger self. I just know that, I had a lot to learn.
It's difficult not to, but it's important to not hate your younger self.
Yeah,
because
that's foundational.
That's just hating having the capacity for mistakes. And you can't learn if you just hate yourself.
And we are still somewhat products of environment, you know. I used to hang out with old guys, and looking back, I totally fell into that pick me, not like other girls stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah, this happens a lot. And I would say that it's unfortunate that the pick me girl is being so maligned at this point, or maybe not necessarily so maligned, just that there's such a reaction against it, because a lot of these girls, these not like other girls, are actually really smart, kind, intelligent people. They're just trying to cope with the system that they've been put into.
It's a misguided thing, and obviously it's not good when women shit on other women.
Absolutely.
For their interests or
but
their
that's not
appearance.
necessarily what they're trying to do. They just don't realize that that's what they're doing at the time.
Yeah. But it's like it's becoming more about blaming essentially the victim of this mentality rather than the system that makes them feel like they have to adopt that in order to be valid. And it's like, no, this is someone who's clearly, not happy with themselves. Like, I've read so many stories of people, obviously they're anecdotal, but of women who said, I used to be a not like other girls girl, and I was very fucking unhappy, and that's why I became that girl, because I just wanted to be accepted. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. Curious, but in what ways do you guys recognize some aspects of toxic masculinity that may be unique to or more common in Australia? I've lived in the US and in the Netherlands, so I was wondering. Unique to Australia, I would say the whole cutting down tall poppies thing that sort of came with British culture.
Yeah, the tall poppy syndrome.
Definitely relates back to the convict days of like, what, you think you're better than me?
Yeah.
And that really sort of stuck. And I mean, I wouldn't say that this specifically only applies to men because a lot of women get caught up in this as well.
Yeah.
I would say it's just an Australian thing.
Yeah.
But it definitely ties into how masculinity in this culture is perceived, where it's like, you kind of have to be awesome, but also average at the same time, and it's completely unachievable.
You have to be awesomely average.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a lot of the just the typical like toxic masculinity shit, but wrapped up in a laid back visage
idea of laid back.
Idea like, oh yeah, I don't care. Like, oh, I'm just too much of a fucking down to earth bloke to really care about my appearance. Oh, what? You use a fucking moisturiser? Oh yeah, like lady, do you? Oh, you fixing your hair for an hour before you go out? Bloody fucking chill out, mate. Nobody fucking cares. You care. You care, dude.
Yeah, and just the idea that if you try to improve yourself in any way, that you must be some kind of dick who thinks that you're like the best.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely had this throughout most of my life where everything I've tried to do, people have shit on until I was good at it. You know, like people will not shit on the thing, but like I've definitely copped a lot of situations where people would actively hate me because I was trying to do a certain thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like whether it be a musician or get into YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a teenager, I was into surfing, and I remember I was talking to you about the whole modeling thing.
Yeah.
Where I got a lot of shit for being even remotely receptive to any of these ideas.
Yeah.
Like, oh, maybe I could make it in this area or that area.
No, you can't.
Yeah, like my best friend's mom was an acting coach, and at one point, she sort of had put the idea in my head of like, why don't you get into acting?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's an idea. And as soon as I mentioned it to anyone at school, it was like, what, you think you can be Hollywood?
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
Can I just be in it?
Yeah. And I would say in terms of just like typical like toxic masculine sort of shit, or like, you know, it's as frequently as possible used as a way to tie back to homophobia.
Yeah, sure.
It's like, oh, you want to be an actor? That's fucking gay. All the theater kids are fucking poofs, bro. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Acting's gay, or fucking anything. Art is gay. Everything was gay.
Yeah.
As any chance they get, they'll tie it back to homophobia and the idea of like you're less of a man, you know. So yeah, that's a uniquely Australian thing, I feel.
I'm a diehard F1 fan, and if I would get €1 for every time a guy told me that I'm a woman and I have no idea about F1, I would be a millionaire. That's entirely fair.
Yeah,
I hear
totally
that.
True.
Makes sense.
That pretty much ties right into the prove it culture.
Yeah, for a long time you've gotten that in metal. I think it's slightly less so now that there's more great ladies in metal.
Yeah.
But for a long time there was definitely like, what do you fucking know about metal? You're just some girl.
Name the fucking like first 3 albums though. It's effed up, but women always have to prove themselves. Yeah, no, we should. We're different. We have social value. Women still depends way too much on how men see you. Oh, yeah.
I would say that this is actually just a minority problem in general, because I would say that queer communities and racial minorities go through pretty much the same experience.
Pretty much.
I would say that this is probably why we are capable of somewhat empathizing with women as a whole, is just that we've had similar sort of experiences from different perspectives. And I'm not saying it's the same, but just, I've definitely had this idea, I guess from, again, being, one of like 3 Asian kids in my community growing up, that like I had to absolutely crush and dominate the competition in everything I did in order to just be seen as equal. Yeah. Like, if I didn't win whatever competition I was in by a large margin, then I failed. Yeah. And it's like, the amount of times I got like 2nd or 3rd and I was like, fuck this, and I would get like super pissed off because I didn't just crush. Yeah. And it's because like I wasn't gonna get any of that respect if I didn't prove to everybody beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was fucking capable of this.
To me, pretty much I ended up with somewhat of an inverted thing where I was pushed towards the wogs at my school and the other Italian boys who had that really like bro culture going for them.
Yeah.
And because I was so determined to not be lumped in with them as a stereotype, I like was like, no, man, I'm not a wog. I'm not a fucking wog. I'm not like them.
Right.
I'm not like those guys. I'm a real Italian, you know. So I would have essentially the not like other girls thing going for me, but it's
not like other Italians.
They're not like other Italians, like the fuck, almost a bit of a like model minority thing going like, yeah, I'm Italian, but I don't go too far with it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh god, dude, that doesn't make you fucking special. Yeah, we get it. You don't like soccer. Calm down.
Yeah, proud of yourself.
Yeah, shit, cool.
For sure.
Just shit on your culture and identify every single standout thing about it as an inherently negative trait. That'll do wonders. Yeah.
Yeah. Ironic. I have mostly guy friends, and they treat me like I don't have a sexuality or rejecting it, and trying to convince me I'm a lesbian. Jesus Christ, moving away from them these days is super unhealthy. Yeah, it's tough because like I totally feel like guys and girls should have friends of the opposite sex or gender, depending on how we're going to get into it. In fact, I would say it's pretty healthy to have a wide variety.
Just
of friends.
a diverse group of friends.
Basically, just don't live in an echo chamber.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's unfortunate if you feel like you have to move away from having guy friends, but I do totally get it. Where like a lot of these guys, there's like 9 guys in a group and 1 girl, and it's like, yeah, that's still a pretty hectic echo chamber.
Yeah, I know, and especially because it's like, yeah, they'll just see they do that. They'll just shift the perception. So it's like, yeah, but she's one of the boys.
Yeah, well,
she's different. She doesn't count. And
it's this idea. It's like, well, no, but also there's this idea of, well, she's asexual or she's a lesbian, and that's why she won't sleep with any or all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's like it's a shifting the frame so that it still accommodates their viewpoint.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh yeah, but like, I can still believe this stuff despite the clear oxymoron of having a female friend.
Yeah.
You know? But she's gay though. You know?
Which is why we just need to gain a lot of internal strength so that you can really not give a shit about what society puts you. But damn it, absolutely.
It's very hard.
Yeah. It's not about, and I think you got to be clear that it's not about not giving a shit. It's about selective caring. Like, is the thing that you're caring about actually important? Is it trivial? Because there are times, like, just simply not giving a shit altogether is going to lead you pretty much down this edgelord path, just in a different way. Do you know what I mean? So definitely be careful of that. Gaming community is super toxic. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
That's like the poster child for toxic communities.
I'd say most of them are. Most communities are though, like super toxic to women.
I would say a shitload of pop culture niche communities, because so many of them are just nerd dudes.
Yeah, exactly.
Not all, obviously, but yeah, I find this with a lot of the stuff I like listening to metal and being into bodybuilding. There's just a lot of like hectic bros.
Yeah,
and it's different kinds. There's the nerd bro and the dude bro.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's tough.
When I learned about the male gaze theory, I felt like trash. I haven't looked.
I actually need to look more into that. I'll be honest with you.
I think I have like a general idea of it, but I don't know the specifics.
I don't know enough. Will you guys watch Noelle for Christmas? It's a really good girl poem. I have no idea. Probably not. We don't really try to do themed that much. Movies. We literally did one Halloween movie this year, and it didn't do that well.
Yeah, it never works out.
Yeah. Love this live stream and message behind it, but just in case I don't get another chance, I'd love for you to do commentary unsaved. Oh yeah, don't worry, that's on the list.
Yeah, that's on.
Guys, remember, if it's female led, it's gonna be done sooner or later. Yeah. You know, right now we're just focusing on some classics so we can not be broke.
If it can be in any way construed as a chick flick, we're doing it.
Yeah. I look back on the younger me and I want to both slap her and give her a hug because she literally just wanted to be accepted, but the people she was getting accepted by sucked. Yeah. And I would say that this ties into how many people are just living in areas or communities that are just too much of an echo chamber. There's not enough diversity within the community. So you get like 1 or 2 people who are kind of alternative, and they're like, how do I survive this community that I'm a part of?
By adapting to it and becoming like it. As like it as you possibly can.
And that is one of the great things about the internet, where you get to spread out and meet more people who are like you. But it's unfortunate that you don't get as much opportunity to see those people in real life.
For sure. I think that's also why you're seeing so much more like backlash. You're seeing so much more, you will not replace us, kind of shit. Because it's like, people are connecting and realizing, oh, hey, these guys suck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm surprised by the amount of people who say Heathers is good. Whether it's the people I know directly who have watched it, like you.
I didn't watch all of it.
I know.
And I tapped out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you couldn't even find it interesting enough to finish it.
Yeah.
And Billy did it for his channel. He was like, dude, don't do it.
Oh god.
Fair enough. Fun fact: I did a quiz about F1 and answered 48 out of 50 questions. I also watched. Yeah,
man.
Not surprised.
Yeah, we believe you.
Yeah. They still be a bit creepy in the first case at times, but I don't think many people catch on to the subtlety of how much different a guy saying "Can I have your number?" is versus "What's your number?" Or even just like I used to go with the simple "We should hang out sometime" because they can easily just be like, "Yeah, we should," or like, or they'll just they'll go with the "Yeah, we should." I leave them room to just be like, "No, I don't really want to," or "I don't have time," or whatever else. But usually, they'll like either they'd be totally keen or they'd just ghost.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I'd be like super like, I'm not like that though. You could say no to me and I'll be fine.
Yeah, it's like, but they don't know that.
They don't know that
because the guys who aren't fine, they say that too.
Yeah, and
they
it's
say
like,
that too. They say it's fine. I'm totally chill, and then they are not chill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that guy who's like, dude, you can totally just tell me that you don't want to and I'll be fine. They're like, okay, I don't want to. Fuck you, you ugly bitch.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa. Yeah, and so I get that. It really sucks because I think that the ghosting of guys is not helping them learn how to be better, but
it's kind of
personal
crucial.
individual safety is also an issue.
Very, very, very
And
important.
I totally understand girls being like, I just don't want to get murdered.
Yeah, when you're weighing up, when you're tossing up between like someone's feelings and like someone's actual safety, it's kind of like it sucks. It's a choice. It's a choice that should not have to be.
Yeah, but it is
exist, but it is, and unfortunately, lesser of two evils.
Exactly. So that's why I'm at this point right now where I'm like I'm not mad at any of the girls who just disappeared.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
In retrospect.
I get it.
Well, it's kind of thing I realized this bit of a penny drop moment was, because a couple times it happened while I was walking down the street and there was a woman ahead of me and she kind of like turned back a little bit, noticed that I was like behind her and walked faster. And when I was younger, I would get annoyed by this, being like, why would you assume that about me? That's so rude.
And a lot of guys still think that.
Yeah, they still think that. They think like that's no different to like looking at a black guy and assuming he's going to rob you.
No,
like so you're discriminating against me. And it's like, realizing like if you're not mad at the dudes who have made her feel like this is necessary and made her feel that unsafe, then you are part of the problem.
Yeah.
If you're getting mad at her and not those guys, you're part of the problem, dude. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I'm with you. And like that's why at this point in my life, if I noticed that a woman ahead of me is walking like the same way I'm going, and it's like a quiet place, like through a suburb, walking home, whatever, I'll slow down. I literally just slow down. I'm like, look, I'm gonna give you like 5 minutes here to put some distance between us because I understand what's up.
Yeah.
And I get sucks on the one hand being like, oh no, I'm gonna be home late, but it's only like 3 minutes late, so whatever.
If I'm too close to like slow down enough to still not be essentially like following her,
or if I can even I'll just cross the road sometimes, just walk on the other side of the road, be like, look, I'm clearly not following you. Just
I've done that, and then they cross the road.
You're like, damn it! No,
I crossed first. I did it first.
I'm trying. Yeah.
Not me over here calling you a wog as a joke in my head.
Sure.
No, it's fine. I think in America there's a different meaning to that term.
There might be.
It's sort of in The Sopranos. He called Indians wogs.
That's odd.
Yeah, I know.
The whole women need to say they have a boyfriend because there's the only way men accept, no, I do not want your number.
But they don't, though.
That is fair, but at least it's an option that sometimes works. I wouldn't say always.
Every woman I've talked to about that has just been like, they've just been like, that's not a problem, babe. That's always the response they get.
I've definitely seen that. I remember going to meet up with a friend of mine at a bar one time, and when I got there, she was sitting in the corner specifically the corner by herself, just like sadly looking into her beer, like kind of curled up. I was like, what's going on? And she's like, there was this guy who like kept asking me for my number, and at first I was like, no, I'm waiting for a friend, and then she just like stopped sort of responding, and then he just fucking like stood right in front of her and started yelling in her face about like, the fuck is wrong with you? You think you're too good for me? Why can't you just fucking smile? You know, like just fucking talk to me. And I was just like, what the fuck? You know, and it's just like, I was 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
that's what happened in that 10 minutes
Yeah.
that I wasn't there.
Yep.
It's like, bro.
Good times.
And yeah, again, it's just, you know, just going to meet a friend for a drink, and I got there and she was traumatized.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fucking rough.
Even all the girls school I went to was toxic to women. Like, how? Yeah, because you get conditioned.
Society.
When guy,
The society.
get a load of this society.
Yeah.
I'm so tempted to use that as a thumbnail for this video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Compliment, accept something afterward, like accept my thank you and move on. Yep, actually.
Yeah.
Compliment is supposed to be given. It's not payment.
Also, yeah, the best way to respond to a compliment is just be like, thank you.
Thanks.
Simple.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything else.
Yeah,
In
no,
fact,
you definitely don't.
one of the biggest traits, and I know this is a little bit off topic, is just the idea that when someone compliments you, you're supposed to compliment them back in a similar fashion. It's like, but that's not real, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if I thought you also had a great outfit, I would have said that to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, and not to say that it's bad. You know,
Yeah.
there's individual situations, but the amount of times I've been in that situation where
Yeah,
someone has said something kind of nice, like, "Oh, that's a sick jacket." I'm like, "Thanks, man," and then they're just kind of waiting there, like,
That's called fishing, bro.
"Yeah, yeah."
But also, I'll try to point out something that's like different.
Mm-hmm.
That's like they're like, oh, I really like your jacket. Thanks. I like your shoes.
No, see, to me,
it's
it
like,
doesn't.
no, your jacket's not cool.
I can't do that because no matter what I'm doing, I'm obviously doing it as a reaction to
Sure.
your compliment.
That's true.
And then it doesn't feel real.
The amount of times I had guy friends tell me, but you're just a cool dude that happens to have long hair
God.
and tits. Yeah.
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 Yeah, like I'm less of a girl because I don't wear heels and makeup. Straight up. And like, again, you're getting that from these guy friends who they really just, like, they want to get laid so badly that they're willing to throw away whatever friendship you have.
Yeah.
And is really sad. I don't know what to say about that.
Again, it's like if they have to change their perception of you in their mind so drastically that it's like you're not even a girl anymore. You're just a guy with long hair. Then they don't like you. They like this idea that they've constructed of you, but you are a girl. Okay, that's who you are.
They actually do like who you are. They just need an excuse for why they're not trying to hook up with you.
But yeah, like so the same thing. It's like again, it's like I'm sorry, man, but then you can't be friends with this person.
Yeah.
Fucking, because you're not really. You are denying a fundamental part of who they are in order to make it acceptable for you to be friends with them. It's like some fucking a teacher that I knew in high school. She was highly religious and she had gay friends, but she disagreed with homosexuality. So she just ignored the fact that they were gay. And she was just like, we don't talk about it. We just don't talk about it. They've tried bringing it up and like talking to me about it, and I'm just always like, no, we're not talking about this.
Wow.
And it's like, you're not really their friend.
Yeah, you're not. If
You're
you can't accept the person
missing
for
part
who
of
they
them.
actually are, then you're not their friend.
Yeah, you're not their friend. Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. I love your channel and how aware you are of the female struggle. Thank you.
We try. Thanks.
Yeah. We try to just be aware of struggle in general, I guess. Cheers, guys. Off to work. Awesome live stream. Thank you, SARS93.
Thank you. Catch you
Is
later.
it SARS?
I think it's SARS. I had a cousin. I have a cousin, Sarah.
Sorry,
You go by SARS.
Oh, Sarah. But yeah, you're
Sarah.
thinking of like different
Oh,
pronunciations.
yeah. The wog brain going off.
That's exactly what yeah. Because SARS sounds a bit...
I know.
Yeah.
That's what we told her.
Okay.
Thank
As
you.
a survivor of male, it means... I'm assuming you mean...
male violence or something like that.
Or abuse or harassment
Yeah,
or something.
sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, no worries. What are some future goals you guys want to achieve for the channel? I mean, it depends on what you mean.
Yeah.
I assume you mean for the primary channel, the Movie Buds primary channel. Literally, we just want to continue putting out good quality videos and making a living from it. I don't care about the end subscriber number.
Not just as long as it's sustainable.
Yeah, sustainability is the goal, is the only goal. And I don't want to focus on subscriber numbers because it's not even about how many people subscribe. It's about why they're subscribing.
Yeah.
Which is why we never ask in our
no.
videos anyone to subscribe. We never tell anyone to click that bell.
You're going to do it if you want to.
Yeah.
And us telling you to might make you do it out of a sense of obligation or like maybe a little bit of guilt. But there's a pretty good chance you're just going to turn it off or subscribe and then not click our videos, which actually does more harm to the channel than anything else.
If you're subscribing, you don't watch the
Yeah,
videos.
because YouTube just sees, wow, like
nobody likes your channel.
No one's all your subscribers don't like your channel. How weird.
Yeah, that's a problem.
You must not make very good content.
So realistically, I mean, for the Movie Buzz channel, if we could average, you know, around 200K per video, I think long term would be very sustainable. Anything more than that, and you start to get more and more into that territory of no longer understanding the audience that you're a part of.
There's just too many people.
And I definitely want to be at least cognizant of that. If we ever do get to that point where we're averaging more than like 200-300K, we're getting closer to 500, a million or whatever. That's one of those times where it's like, we're going to have to try really hard to keep perspective. Yeah,
well, because it just comes down to, if you're appealing to everybody, you don't have a perspective.
Yeah.
You don't have
having 1 million views per video is not appealing to everybody.
Oh, no,
that is such a minority.
Oh, no, I know, but I'm just talking about just generally. If you, like, the whole idea of, like, I'm going to maximize how appealable I am to a wide as demographic as possible. It's like, okay, so you're just watering yourself down. You're just making yourself as palatable as possible to as many people as possible and sacrificing your perspective.
I'm not worried about that, because I'm never going to intentionally, never going to sacrifice our perspective for the intention of trying to grow an audience. I'm talking about the idea of getting to a certain point where you just don't understand the people around you anymore.
That's fair.
But yeah, for the goals for the channel, we're just talking about sustainability. We want to get to a point where we're making solid, consistent money, and we can keep doing this without being assholes.
Yeah, this is our cool, fun job.
Yeah.
That's it.
If you want to learn about male gaze theory, watch Salem Tovar's video. The male gaze is the reason why you're ugly. Wish I never watched it.
Damn.
Yeah. I'll check it out. In fact, I think I've had that video recommended to me. I just haven't watched it recently, or in general. That topic is hard. Figuring out who isn't chill, it's a lose-lose situation. Everyone, it's tough one. I tend to ignore a lot of guys say, because I'm like, oh well. Also, as soon as you get inappropriate comments from your boss, that is a bit tricky.
Oh yeah.
God damn, yeah. Getting inappropriate comments from your boss. It's one of those situations where you're rock in a hard place for sure. Yeah.
I had male friends growing up, and one of the most annoying things I got consistently were people asking if we were dating / liked each other. It would be really awkward. Yeah.
Every single time I had a female friend where we were just friends, they'd be like, "Are you guys dating?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Good. You guys don't have any chemistry." I'm like, "No shit. Why do you think we're not dating?"
I would get that. You know who I would consistently get that with? My freaking cousin.
Ooh.
Growing up, because we were like,
you hang out with your cousin, and people were like, "Oh, you're dating?" Like, no, she's my cousin.
Your girlfriend. She's my cousin. Yeah. We were born around the same time, so we were pretty much besties growing up, and we would like spend a lot of time together. So yeah, anytime we were like we were out with family, and she and I would maybe branch off and go and do something, and maybe I don't know, get a fucking ice cream or something. We're like, "Oh yeah, he was on for your girlfriend." I'm like, "Not my girlfriend. That's my cousin."
Yeah.
Why are you assuming this? I get we don't look very much alike, but come on, dude.
Just hanging out with girls, like walking down the street, like, again, girls who were just friends, and then some random old person would be like, "Oh, you guys look like such a lovely couple." Like, "Oh, we're not a couple." They're like, "Well, when you do get married." Like, motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh god, that's like when people tell me and Hazel, "Oh, well, when you finally do decide to have kids," you're like, "What the fuck are you on about, man?
What makes you think that's what's gonna happen?"
Yeah. It's just a weird line to walk between virgin and slut. Yeah, I've never walked.
Yeah, the fact that there's like no real middle ground. I mean, there is, but only with the people who are also in that same situation.
I mean, but it's just like, those are just constructs.
Yeah, I know.
Do whatever the fuck you want, man. You like, "Oh, you're a slut. Good for you. Fucking good for you. Get laid. Have fun. You're a prude. Yeah, good for you. You're not comfortable with close, intimate contact. Do whatever the fuck you feel like, as long as you're not hurting people." God.
I've never walked to a club without some rando grabbing my ass. It's the rite of passages. Yeah, I used to be one of those guys, so sorry.
Being autistic, I tend to take things that people say literally. When I was younger, too, I did it. It did land in me. Who did it land me in shit? I was a rude bitch more often than not, because I don't get subtext. Lol. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that happens.
I get you.
Honestly, it's really sad that some guys haven't changed at all. I recently had to block a guy I used to be friends with in high school because he remembered my number and called me to try to hook up. Yeah.
Gotta head out soon before I leave. Want to recommend a movie called The Half of It. Pretty sure that's on there.
Sure.
Yeah, years ago, my boss told me on my 24th birthday I don't look older than 14. Ugh. Okay.
Oh.
Why though?
Like, why do you need to bring that up at all?
Why?
It's very unnecessary.
Yeah, what the ew? Yeah. I love that. All right, it's past 11 now.
Yeah, it's
I reckon
definitely
we'll
that
wrap
time.
this up.
Seems
Chat's slowing down. We're all caught up.
everyone's
I think
caught up.
it's- Yeah, I think it's about time for us to jet. So, thanks for joining us. If you're new to this channel, if you want to check out our main stuff where we do movie reactions, that's the Movie Buzz.
Set up the socials.
Oh yeah, I'll put up our socials. So if
Yeah.
you want to give us a follow on Instagram, there we are. We'll put the link for our Discord in the top pinned comment. But that'll be for the Movie Buzz channel as well. There's not one for this channel yet.
It's funny looking at these socials. This is old for me. This information in my social thing is old.
No, yeah, same. I have way more followers now.
Oh, I wasn't looking at the followers. I was looking at my bio. I'm like,
All right.
it doesn't say I'm a grocery store.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I set my profession as grocery store.
Okay.
I'm selling groceries.
Sure you are. Jesus Christ.
Natalie lost
last one.
discussion here. Oh my god, that reminds me of a guy friend I had in high school when we were always together, but we weren't together. The amount of times my family kept teasing me and saying we got a date like why? Yeah. And I had this several times. I mean, there were definitely points where there was like a couple of times where I put myself in the friend zone.
Yeah.
But there were times when I actually had friends, so I could kind of understand why some people close to me would be like, "Oh, you trying to date this girl?" Because like fucking 30% of the time.
Yeah.
But like
a little bit.
sometimes
It's like I wouldn't object.
yeah. However, I did learn at a certain point for me specifically, if I make friends with someone, we really are just friends.
Yeah.
Like generally the vibe we get from more or less the start is probably going to stay pretty consistent throughout the friendship.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm direct about who I am at this point.
Yeah, 100%.
Very clearly. I don't know, but I've never gone from friends to dating.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny because when I deliberately made an effort to make friends with women, the first woman that I met who I was like, cool, like we're just friends and this is great, and this is an awesome relationship that's just platonic and it's awesome and it's healthy, and now she's my fiance.
Yeah.
So
complete opposite experience.
I was just like, damn it.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite experience. That's hilarious.
All right. Well, yeah. Again, thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for joining in. We'll do another one of these next week, same time, same place.
Yeah, we'll keep doing these, and we'll get better at the structuring of how all of this works.
Maybe try editing this one down and posting it, or if you want to leave this one up.
We're gonna leave them live for the moment, but we might start cutting them up in the future.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're gonna keep trying to make small improvements over the course of them. We tried to have my phone being the camera this time, but we couldn't get it to go widescreen. It would only go like vertical.
Yeah.
So we had
next
to
time
go back to this shitty webcam footage.
We'll figure it out.
I'll get the audio too. I swear to God.
Yeah. All right.
But have fun, guys. We'll see you next time.
We'll catch you later. Bye.